Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Matt, and we're here with our special guest, Lesli Margherita. How are you doing? We're already off to a great start. We were on our Patreon exclusive when we started off, and we were asking about your name, and then your poor sister happened to go by, and I was like, "Oh, hey, is that your mom in the background?" And you're like, "That's my sister," and she was getting a drink, and she's like,
"Not having it." Yep, not having it. I mean, I had to do it here at the bar. I'm visiting my mom, so I'm in like my old home, my childhood home, and nice. So I figured, got to do it at the bar. So
yeah. And of course, you saw Matt's drinking apparatus that he has everywhere, the Viking horn, and you're like, is that a bong? And Lesli, we've been looking up all of your stuff. Your career has been amazing. You do a lot of live on stage shows. How did you get your start with everything?
As a kid, I was so hyper, and my mom didn't know what to do with me. Like, took me to the doctor, thought I needed like ADD medication, and they were like, put her in dance class. And so then I just kind of started doing it as a kid, and I was like, this is really all I'm good at, is performing. So I just kept doing it, and I was doing shows as a kid, and I did shows at like my local theme park and all through high school and college. And then I went to college at UCLA and started doing the shows at Disneyland and Universal Studios, and then just continued doing it.
So how was it doing the shows at the theme park? Like that, how old were you actually when you did the shows at the theme park?
Well, in high school, I was 15, 16.
Okay.
And then, in 17. And then when I got to Disneyland, it was like 18, 19. So it was rad. Like because I love Disneyland. So you would rehearse at night when nobody was in the park.
Nice.
Just be alone in the park with other performers. And I loved it. It was so fun. I thought that was like the best job I would ever get.
Nice. And when you were there, did you make friends with any of the Disney performers, like the street performers? Like, for example, like you made good friends with Woody, and every time you would walk near him, he'd drop on the ground.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. You would know who was in the costume by the way that they passed by you. Oh. Totally. Yeah, you could absolutely tell for sure.
And with doing those shows, how did that lead into the live on stage stuff? What was it directly through UCLA? And of course you went to UCLA, as you said. How was going to UCLA? What were, and of course this is the Happy Hour podcast, so did you experience did you experience any crazy moments while you were at UCLA, any that stand out of your mind that you feel comfortable talking about?
Well, I mean, I was in a sorority, so you live in a sorority house, and there's sorority row and then fraternity row, and so I mean, the amount of stories that are back at. I mean, I think like the main one is there was a massive earthquake that happened while I was living in my sorority house, and I was lied to my mom, who's in the other room listening. I'd lied to my mom and dad. I was staying with my boyfriend, who was also a Disney performer.
Yeah.
In like another city, and they had called my sorority house, like trying to find me, and I wasn't there clearly. So that was the big one. There was like a massive LA earthquake. But I mean, it was typical college experience. Like it was just, and I was really happy I was in a sorority house, though. I'll tell you that.
And you said that your boyfriend was one of the Disney performers.
Yeah.
Who did he perform as?
He was Aladdin.
He was Aladdin. Okay, so I'm guessing he was Aladdin and you were Jasmine. So were there any times that the Aladdin costume made it into the bedroom?
Disney's very careful. You can't even
Yeah, Disney's like, we know what's going on. We already hide dicks in our cartoon movie. Does not let the costumes leave too.
Yeah, you could never. They were so strict. Now they're better, I guess. Now they let their employees have tattoos and.
Oh yeah. I mean, Christ, there's that whole rumor of Walt Disney being frozen cryogenically. Right? Under a damn park. You never heard this. You never heard that?
You never have? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's real.
Yeah, there's a story that frozen cryogenically under the park somewhere. And I'm like, I just hope they do construction one day, like put in a new ride, and they dig through, and they're like, what is this? And then someone's like, no, all the coldness is coming out. Walt is thawing.
Frozen. It's Frozen.
Yeah,
Frozen the movie. There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yes.
That makes sense.
I want that to be true though, because I kind of like picture like what would he think, you know?
Oh yeah.
Being unfrozen after all this time, like
they all this time he's been frozen. They're like, they made a movie after my state, and it's a movie. They made a sequel to that movie, so there's a sequel to me being frozen, and I've been frozen all these years.
Yeah, could you imagine like coming up like in like the Star Wars and like Star Wars? And like, oh yeah, by the way,
we bought Star Wars, and then he comes up and he sees like Marvel, like he sees Spider-Man or whatever, and he's like, what is this shit? What is this? And they're like, we have all the superheroes as well. And he's just kind of like, wait a minute.
Like, pretty damn good.
And now you said you performed when you were younger at Disney. Have you been back to Disney since?
Oh yeah. I'm a massive Disney fan, but I'm also a major Star Wars fan. Like I had stormtroopers at my wedding.
Really? Nice.
Like major fan. So of course, yeah, I actually just went a week ago. Right before Disneyland opened to the public, I have a friend that works as a performer in the parks. And so I went with my husband.
Hey, I need to get in.
I know, right? I hadn't been to Galaxy's Edge, which is like the Star Wars, I hadn't seen it yet. And I went and I was just sort of bawling. I was like, the Millennium Falcon's to scale. It was a mess. So yeah, I go all the time. I love Disney still. Love it.
You're just all your knees crying, but they're like, Miss, you need to get up. Please.
Pretty much.
I just can't handle it.
Like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I'm like a raging Star Wars fanatic.
And I hear you, and Matt can attest to it also because he was there at my wedding. I'm a big Orioles fan. Mm-hmm. My wife went out of her way and got the Oriole bird to come to the wedding. So that was great. And it was hilarious because the Oriole bird got more people got time with the Oriole bird than we did. As soon as he came out, he was only there for half an hour. Boom, swarmed. And the bird was like, he can't talk. All he does is that weird little bird whistle that he does. So, he can't give up his gimmick. So, he's sitting there and he's just kind of like, bro, chill. Like, let me go like, like take it. And just like, we're like, we're the ones getting married. It was completely insane. So going into your career a little bit, your live theater career, you've done, you did Matilda. And that's just the movie alone. We were talking about that a little bit before we went on. Just the movie alone. How was it being able to do Matilda? Because that movie, me growing up, that was a staple of my childhood doing that.
Yes.
I mean, that was same for me. Like I loved it. So to get to do it and to be the Rhea Perlman, to be Mrs. Wormwood was the best because you want to be the villain, you want to be the baddie. It's way more fun than so yeah. No, I loved doing it. I loved getting to be on Broadway. First of all, that was like a dream, but then to get to do that show was amazing. And I'm not a kid fan. Like I don't want them. I don't typically like them.
In the back, you're just looking at them angrily, like, do I have to?
I know, right? And that's what I thought. But these kids were awesome. So that was good. Like they were like mini adults, so they were fine. But yeah, I was like, oh God, I'm doing a show with all kids. And what am I gonna do? But it was I loved it. And I will always want to be the villain.
Yeah. You're just sitting there drinking in the back, like, I don't do work with kids.
Why do I have to get into character? You gotta get shit-faced drunk and get out there.
Totally. I love also my mother just came in. She's trying to get on the Facebook Live and she came out to ask me how to hook up the Facebook Live for her. And I was like, I'm on the show.
All she needs to do is just go to the Facebook.
Just go right onto your Facebook and just bam, you should be right there.
It's bad. At least you came out now, not when you were telling about the earthquake.
It's like I'm talking.
It's all right. Every so often, my dogs decide they're going to try to rip my basement door down. I'm not paying attention to them. And if my wife's not here, which she's at work, God bless her soul, she always, takes care of the dogs while I'm doing this, but she's at work. So the dogs just get angry. And eventually it sounds like sounds like an angry Shrek is trying to rip the door off. And I'm just kind of like, Christ. So with the Matilda, did they do the iconic cake scene? Please.
Oh, yeah.
That they did the iconic cake scene.
Oh, totally. And the poor kids that played Bruce, there were like two boys that would alternate. And I can't tell you how it's done because we were like sworn to secrecy, but it looks like they're eating the whole cake. But they actually did have to, they had just cans of chocolate frosting backstage because they actually did have to eat at least the frosting every night, like a total gob of it.
Yeah,
and
so they could get it on their mouth.
Oh yeah. But these kids were stoked in the beginning, and then like a couple of weeks in, when you're like, you got to do this for a year, the kids but yeah, they just like shoved that shit in their mouth. But they
probably ruined their freaking childhood.
Imagine that,
I probably did. Yeah.
Being that child, he shows up every day like, no, I need to
I know, right?
He's just shaking, just thinking about
but
eating
you
the
love
frosting.
chocolate.
Yeah,
not anymore.
He never goes trick or treating ever again in his life.
No,
like he turns his lights off every year.
They tried to they tried to mix it up. They were like almond joy frosting or like chocolate mint or something, but it was still chocolate frosting. So yeah, but they did it, yeah, for sure.
Every time he walks by a bakery, he's like,
With that too, now of course, Danny DeVito was a huge role in that movie. How did they cast that? Did they find someone that looked like Danny DeVito to do
No, totally opposite. So they went by the book, like the illustrations in the book, and in the book, the Danny DeVito, my husband, is like super tall and skinny, so that's how they cast him. I mean, I kind of looked like what Rhea Perlman did, like with the blonde hair and the curly hair. But for my husband, they did totally the opposite of Danny DeVito. Because how are you gonna find somebody that's like Danny DeVito?
I mean, at least it's the kind of thing like Ron Jeremy, if anything, just somebody kind of, looks a little bit like, but I
don't think Ron Jeremy should be around all those kids.
I don't either. I mean,
Jesus, Ray.
But the thing is look at it like this, and you're right. No one could ever duplicate, him in that role. So, and I mean, but it's interesting. Like I like how different theater shows are compared to movies. Like me and my wife, we went to see A Christmas Story, the musical.
Oh yeah.
And that was awesome seeing. But to me, it was different because, they're having the songs. So, you're hearing the songs, you're learning the songs. And my wife loved it. She did Wicked, and of course, you were in Zorro. You did Zorro.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody who knows Zorro, the countless movies they had, how was it doing Zorro?
Awesome. Amazing. And I had never lived in London before, and I love the country. I think it's amazing. They're so much more laid back than we are over there. Like our band at intermission would cross the street to the pub and they'd have pints set up for them.
That's awesome.
And that's what they do at intermission. Then they'd come back. Like, it was just like, they're just, I don't know. People in London are just way more laid back. And
culture here, man.
Yeah.
I know.
Shout out to England and London and all that. The podcast is huge over there. Everybody in the UK loves the Happy Hour podcast.
Love it. Yeah.
For a while we had our logo, our Union Jack Happy Hour podcast logo. So shout out to everybody most likely listening. We don't really get a lot of them here on the Facebook Live portion, but everybody listening at home, thank you for tuning into the Happy Hour podcast every week.
Yeah, they're the best over there. So no, it was super fun and getting to do like sword fighting and all that. But I just love.
So you had to learn the choreography of like sword fighting and stuff.
Yes, I was terrible.
That's terrible. Sounds awesome.
Was there ever any point where you're just like, I just want to stab somebody? Like you're just like
well, somebody did get stabbed. Not by me, but we did have a guy who now has like a little a scar.
Oh,
Because those things like
he has the Zorro. He has the Z.
He has
underneath.
the Z.
Ah!
and like we had amazing stuntmen in the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, and you guys know, like stuntmen, there was one night a guy came through like a zip line, one of the Zorro stunt dudes, and he fucking ran into the wall and got knocked out. Like, and you're like, like it just happens in live theater. So yeah, but there was a guy who like has a.
Oh man,
I didn't do it.
So when something like that happens live during your what do you guys do? You just
call it on the fly.
You
just
like, oh, you swing off to the side.
I mean, yes, there has been. I mean, so in Matilda, I did a dance number where I did like do a jump into a splits, and a piece of the stage jammed into my leg.
Blood.
No joke. Like you have to like keep going, and then you get off stage. You're like, but you just. And I remember when the guy got cut, and it was just blood on the stage. But you can't stop. I mean, unless somebody is like dying or something has. I mean, there have been some accidents. Nothing I've done, knock on wood, but like I've heard of shows that have had like bad accidents where they have to stop.
Yeah.
But unless something's pretty bad, you kind of have to cover it up and keep going.
Guy just has a sword in his throat. It's like, look, I gotta sing. Just
wheel
him away. But no,
terrible, but you have to. So
and you know, I understand where you're coming from, because everybody listening, you know, I did pro wrestling for 22 years. So, and that's the thing, like when you do theater, like, you know, you have a script in the back, but you have to memorize all that. It's all off of memory. Like, you know, you work a match out in the back. It's like, hey, we need to be able to go do this out there. If not, you need to improvise somehow. Like, yeah, I could get busted up and be bleeding profusely, but you know what? These people paid to see me finish this match. So we need to do that. And, you know, it's
exactly the same as pro wrestling, by the way. It's exactly the same. What I do is no different than that.
well, right, the performance part, but I don't know if the crowd is screaming like in wrestle. It's like yes, blood, yes.
No one's sitting there.
You'd be surprised.
Fuck him up, Leslie. Fuck him up.
I mean, I would love that. You know, you never. Sometimes it happens. You never know.
That's it. We're gonna come to one of your shows and we're gonna start wrestling.
Oh, come on.
Just like one thing, as I'll go back to the Oriole birthday. One thing, have you ever performed in Baltimore?
No, I've never even been. I really want to go. I know.
One thing, next time you watch a sporting event, the number one way you can tell that there's Baltimore fans in the crowd, listen to the national anthem.
Okay.
The national anthem, of course, was created right here in Baltimore.
Uh-huh.
So the national anthem, we took it upon ourselves here in Baltimore that at the national anthem, every time they make it to the word "oh," we yell,
scream,
"Oh!" And it's any sporting event anywhere. So if you hear someone at the point at "oh," go, "Oh!" Maryland. That's, you know, we do that at every Orioles game, Ravens game, and it's insane. So if you ever come to
Baltimore, you're in a Red Sox house, but
oh. Did we just beat them not too long ago?
I mean, poor Red Sox bear. The bear gets turned around when they're losing.
Weren't they just accused of cheating in the World Series or something like that? Like
no, Alex, sure, no.
Of course, if you look behind me, I have a base from Camden Yards, Orioles, and all that. But no, I mean, I'm a huge baseball fan. But if you ever come to Baltimore, you'll definitely hear that. And actually, none of your shows haven't made it through Baltimore.
No, I haven't toured much actually the country, but I've never been to Baltimore. Like I need to.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta go.
Well, we have so many great theaters here too. The Merrick, the Lyric, you know, there's so many different ones around that, you know, I've been to countless times to see shows my wife's been to, and they're beautiful venues. And
yeah, totally.
With your theater, did that lead into the stuff that you did with TV, or was TV kind of in the middle, or was that kind of, you know, led into your live TV?
The TV stuff happened kind of accidentally. When I was in college, I just started auditioning for stuff and ended up getting, and it was so weird. Like I ended up getting a TV show out of nowhere. And so that was easier for me than doing like getting on a Broadway show. I don't know why, like, and so I kind of always did television. I always loved theater more, but I'd always done TV, and so, you know, and then when I moved to New York, like there's all those all the other TV shows that shoot there that I've gotten to do. But yeah, it was random. It was like it just kind of came out of nowhere. And that's also bad, because when you're young and then you get a little bit of success, you're like, oh, this is easy, it's gonna be fine. And then never, you know, never ends up that way. But no, I've been like super lucky getting to do TV stuff for sure.
With the TV stuff, was that different for you? Because of course, you know, with live theater, that's live.
Yeah.
Like, you learn your stuff and it's live. But, and I mean, I had a small role in the wrestler movie with Mickey Rourke. They needed extras for pro wrestling. And, you know, it was weird for me because being a guy who, you know, you go in the back or you just look at the guy and go, hey, we're just going to call it all out there. You know, and you're sitting there. My scene got cut from the movie, but the scene that I had was probably about 30 seconds. And the whole day we were there, it was 13 hours worth of filming. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? They filmed 3 scenes today, 3 fucking scenes, and we've been here for 16 hours. And it's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, that's the hardest part, is the no audience, first of all. But sitcoms do have an audience.
Yeah.
My sister's refilling her drink. You can also be seen. I need a refill as well. Like sitcoms have an audience, so that I like, because that's kind of similar to theater. But like the thing with the 13 hours, and they always say like hurry up and wait. The thing that is crazy about TV and movies is it literally is you're there for hours before you do anything, and then it's so slow. But then every take that they film, you have to like do it exactly how you did it before, or still be pumped up. And I've had days where I've been sitting in one place for like 15 hours trying to get a shot. It's really difficult. I think it's so you know, people see movies and they're like, they sucked in that movie. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. They have probably been fucking sitting there for 8 hours and we're like, I don't give a fuck about this scene anymore. I'm tired. I want to go to my trailer. Like it's hard. Whereas theater, I feel like, you know, it's 2 hours in and out, you're there. But like, yeah, TV and film is hard. But I like sitcoms better because it's a little more like theater.
Oh yeah. And the thing is,
people like reacting.
You get people, and especially nowadays, people are so critical of everything. Like, you know, someone will go sit there, they'll go to a show, they'll be like, oh man, this show sucks so bad. Or like, you know, in our aspect, you know, it's like, oh man, that wrestling show spot sucked. You can see the guy. It's like, all right, motherfucker, you want to get out of the crowd, come in here and do all the training that we've done. Do you want to do this and do it better than me? Or, you know, and like she's like passing props. It's like a prop test, like right there.
Oh no, I hate it. Like the social media part of it with the people that are just like, because I get tagged in shit too, where people are like, oh my God, this sucked, I hated it. I'm like, why would you tag me?
Yeah, like,
why? So I don't know, it's all
you guys are trying to trigger you so they can be like, oh, okay, she said this.
I know, and
it just,
normally I'm good about not responding, but I mean, after sometimes
look here, you little bitch.
Totally. Or my husband will be like, give me the phone.
He'll leave his hell on them.
Yeah.
And of course,
it's some like 2-year-old in fucking China.
Totally. I know. And that's the thing, is they're normally like, they're like teenagers, everybody online. Nah, it's the worst. It's the worst. But I don't know.
You've also won some awards as well. How was it with the awards? Now with theater, is it like regular award? Do they do award ceremonies with all that, or how does
they do? It's like so I won the British equivalent of like a Tony Award, which is like the big theater one. They have the whole ceremonies and televised, and they do the whole thing. But mine, you should truly look up my acceptance speech on YouTube because it is a debacle. Everyone in London told me I wasn't gonna win. So my husband and I were like,
you just got drunk. You just got drunk the whole time.
I'm not even kidding. This award ceremony, we had dinner, they had drinks. It was kind of like the Golden Globes where you're schmoozing with people. So I was like, great, having a great time. And then I won and I had not written anything down.
Oh my God,
completely shocked.
Awesome.
And they announced my name and I swear to you, you see it on the video. I look like they had called me up for The Price is Right. Like I was like, crazy. And then afterwards, all the Brits like wanted pictures of me like a zoo animal because they thought I was so funny. That they just thought I was so weird how it was crazy. So yeah, they do have those. Now I know a little better. America, they're really serious though. I feel like the awards are like, it's just not as fun. Again, like London over there, Europe, they just like, they know how to do it. They just don't care as much.
They appreciate something so much. We always tell our American fans, get on our level, because Facebook Live normally does pretty well with our, with our American fan base and, people that we know personally, but just the audio version, London's killing it. And we're just kind of like, man, we're just two drunk idiots just fucking talking to people. And
but that's their country, not idiots. But that's it, that's what I loved about it is it was like,
that's it. We're moving.
I swear to you, it was such a cool thing to be like, okay, you work, great. Nobody cares what you do there.
Yeah.
You all meet at the pub at the end of your day and who the fuck cares? Like that was the best part I think about that country.
What we should do is we should go back in time and then make sure the Brits win.
Oh, shit.
And then we're just all born as Brits.
Like a good example, my husband, his last name is Stafford, and he goes, I'm gonna go to Stafford. We had a friend that was from Stafford, the city. My husband randomly goes, all right, I'm going to go see what the city is. He then was taken care of for 2 days by this community of people that were like, you're a Stafford, come on, we're going to make your dinner. He was like, this is crazy. Awesome. I'm a stranger. It's a different, it's just a different vibe over there. So I appreciated it.
I heard they're completely generous. They appreciate people. And out of your television movie career, what was your favorite that you've done out of all? I know you're waiting for The Mandalorian to call because you would love.
I mean, listen, any of those shows, I am waiting. No, what I loved filming was it didn't turn out very good, but I filmed a movie called Opening Night that's on Netflix, and we filmed in Mexico City, and I had never been in Mexico City, and that was like the best city ever.
Really?
I loved filming that. I really liked doing Homeland, which was dramatic and but then I love, it's so like I love doing The Crew. I love Kevin James. I think he's so great, and that was super fun. I don't know. I enjoy all the jobs actually, because when you're a performer, you have to enjoy every job because you don't know when the next one is.
Oh yeah, and especially with what we just went through the last year or so. How was all that? Did you guys set up any kind? And I know everybody started doing live digital shows. Like, for example, we're on Facebook Live right now. Our podcast started early because of COVID, because we had nothing else better to do.
Yeah.
So, did you guys do any like live theater shows via, live stream?
We did. I've done so many. They just, I mean, look, I get it. And it's fine. And we were happy to do what we could.
Yeah.
And you guys know it's just not the same. And even I did so many live performances over Zoom for people. It's just not the same, and it's weird. And I think we're all kind of like, no, it's fine, it's great, because that's what we had. But for sure, like the last year for what we all do, if we're doing live anything, just sucked.
Pro wrestling isn't the same. Like that's the thing, you're a bad guy. You get in the ring, you do something, you can't turn around and be like, tell your ugly kid to sit down. But even the guys would still do it. It's like you're programmed. Like there'd be no one there, and people would just get a little, hey, why don't you sit down and shut up talking and be chairs?
Yeah.
Like I mean, and it's slowly coming back now, but Broadway in the fall will come back, but it's a little slow going. Like I mean, like our sport, like so the Orioles, can you go see them now?
Yeah, I'm going to the game tomorrow. They're at Baltimore though is at 15% capacity. Unfortunately, we're not like Texas and it's full capacity,
15?
but I like.
You mean 50?
No, 15.
15%. Like 100 people?
But
Texas, right? Texas is full.
Yeah, Texas is like, screw all this. They're full capacity, and apparently Florida's lifting all their mandates. So yeah,
we're done.
But no, like I actually kind of prefer the 15% capacity because you don't have anybody close to you at all. You can actually sit there.
Wait.
Yeah, you can actually sit there and play the game.
I know there is a lot about what happened in the last year that I was like, oh, I wish that.
Some things are pretty cool.
If you ever come to Baltimore, go see the Red Sox play at Camden Yards against the Orioles. Best ballpark in all of baseball. You will love it. So
I would love that. Okay.
And what we're going to do real quick is for those of you listening at home, we're going to take a break, get a word from our sponsors, play some songs, and we'll be right back with Lesli Margherita. For those of you watching live,
I know you're not saying it right.
For those of you watching live, we're going to keep on rolling through. Welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. This is Ray. Of course, I'm sitting here with Matt. We're being joined by Lesli Margherita. What we're going to do is we're going to get into our beer of the week this week. And our beer of the week, we're sitting there talking a lot about Baltimore and the Orioles and all that. It's a Baltimore original by Union Craft Brewery. It's called Duckpin Pale Ale. So a lot of you locally might know what this is, but that's what it looks like. And
it's good.
Speaking of Duckpin Pale Ale, Lesli, do you know what a duckpin is?
No.
Okay. A lot. See, duckpins are only exclusive to Maryland, I think Delaware, and a couple of areas. So you're familiar with bowling, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So basically duckpin in Maryland, there are these little teeny tiny, I guess you would say duck-shaped pins. They're like real small, and you have like kind of like what I guess you would say like a cricket size, like a small like handheld ball.
It's like a wiffle.
And you bowl with that.
Yeah.
At one point, I worked at a bowling alley, and there were people who were from other states who would come to the center, and they would be they'd be taking pictures of the machines. They would ask for a pin because they've never seen duck pin bowling before.
That was my leg I rubbed, right?
Yes, that was your leg. Unfortunately, it was not mine. But no, duck pin bowling is, so that's how, they just the whole local thing. For
then the small ball is for the regular size pins?
No, they're little, they're mini. When you get a chance, when you're done, look at pin bowling, and you'll see the pins. They're tiny ball, like it's insane. And also there's candlestick pins too. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of candlestick.
No,
it's kind of similar. Candlestick, I think you bowl with the same kind of ball, but they're like pins that look like candlesticks. And and that's in different parts of the United States also. And unfortunately, I learned a lot of this stuff because I worked at a bowling alley for years. The whole thing is, definitely if you come, try some duck pin bowling.
Okay.
It will blow your mind. There's so many people that are just kind of like, oh man, what the hell is this? So shout out to Union Craft Brewery and Duck Pin, Baltimore original Duck Pin Pale Ale. Make sure you go out and get some. And we can't have our beer of the week without having our shot of the month, which we debuted last week, which is George Dickel Tabasco Barrel Finish Whiskey.
So you guys know.
I'd enjoy this last week because
no. I wish you had sent me some. No, Tabasco.
Yes, and it has a fiery finish, like a very fire.
Wait, like more than the cinnamon whiskey.
Right. You'll see in a sec. The whiskey is smooth, but then like you'll see.
Yeah, and as of course, for those of you watching live at home, that's what the bottle looks like. And of course, you see the Tabasco right there. So I got it kind of chuckling to myself because I was like, we can put some Dickel in our mouth. And
Dickel.
Yeah. So
can you put? I mean,
yeah.
Can you you can't mix that, right?
What's up?
You can't mix that with anything.
I don't know. No, I mean, I don't know what you could mix it with.
You can't mix the Dickel.
Mix it with some Dickel.
Yeah. Dickel. So, all right, so here we go. Shot of the month, and here we go.
Oh God.
You guys, that's a big shot. Your shot glasses are not shot glasses.
Oh.
Like I said, the whiskey is smooth, but I swear in about 2 seconds. Oh God.
Yep, there it is. That's when it kicks in.
Tabasco whiskey.
Yep. This is what I do to my poor co-host. So
I hate hot shit.
And I do too. That's no. Please, are you gonna barf in your horn? You're gonna barf in your horn.
Oh no.
And of course, shout out to George Dickel. He's a dick for creating this whiskey.
He's a dick.
Make sure you go in and get some if you like hot stuff like Tabasco. Woo. Go in and get George Dickel Tabasco. And what we're going to do once we get ourselves recomposed, we're going to get into our Ode to Humanity segment. And we talked a little bit before this. These are our games. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 5-second rule. So 5-second rule, pretty much I'm going to be like, Leslie, name 3 of something, and you have 5 seconds to guess it. I'm hoping you or Matt get it because I have no idea if I'm going to be able to fucking do this. So... All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up my little timer once this thing's ready. And then what I want you to do is I want you to name 3 Big Ten universities starting now.
Michigan.
Oh, God damn it. All right, so Matt, Michigan is out. I need you to name 3 Big Ten universities. I don't even know what
Big Ten is.
Starting now.
West Virginia Tech. Shit. I don't know, man.
3 Big Ten universities starting now. I have nothing, so that's a dead round. I looked at that. I'm like, man, that's gonna be a hard.
I don't do football.
I'm not a big college.
Yeah, I'm not a big college guy, and
Michigan is one.
Michigan. I think Virginia.
Northwestern.
Yeah, North. Oh, yes.
Northern. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I know Michigan is definitely one.
I don't think
Penn State.
Nebraska is Nebraska one.
Penn State is one.
Penn State.
We've had the Peanut Gallery.
Right, and that's I think the closest Big Ten to us.
And I'm glad that you're drinking because this is going to help you with the next game.
Oh no! Okay.
Incoherent. And you notice how I said it? I said incoherent. So what you're going to do is you're going to hear yourself say it. Say it fast and think about what you're saying. There's 2 hints on the back of the card. If you need a hint, let me know. And let me know if you can see that. So imagine you were drunk saying this and try to figure out
like
what that card
like
Can
said.
I say it out loud here?
Yes.
You can say it out loud.
Lib full half olive. Lib full half olive. Lib full half olive. Lib full half olive.
Would you like a hint?
Yes.
It's another poster quote.
Live full of
beer.
You got the first part right.
Live full of olive. Live full of.
You got the last part. You had the last part.
Yeah.
Live
all right, there's another hint. Would you like that other hint?
Live, yeah.
Thoughtful life of vice you'll see on the walls of most freshman dorm rooms. Yeah. You'll see this quote pretty much in any place you go to, like in a frame or that you can hang on the wall, or
it's 3 words.
Yeah.
Very popular.
Live full half olive. I no idea.
Live, laugh, love.
How is that live, laugh, love?
Yeah.
Live,
laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. Live forever. You know what is it? This is deceiving because they do the words like it's a sentence.
Yeah.
Deceiving.
And of course, with our Ode to Humanity segment, we cannot do Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity.
Yes.
So do you know Cards Against Humanity?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're gonna do, we do a little bit different on the show. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read off the black card.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have 4 options of which you think best matches the black card. So pretty much the black card is, oh no, here it comes. Oh God, it's blank. Your choices are the Amish.
Oh God, I hate the Amish.
Guy getting eaten alive by Guy Fieri. Chowder. And Naked Dad.
What?
Yeah.
I'll go with chowder.
So all right.
Chowder.
So Leslie says, oh no, here it comes. Oh God, it's chowder. And mine, I kind of like getting eaten alive by Guy Fieri. Could you imagine? Like, I mean, he does this whole show, but if I'm being eaten alive by Guy Fieri, I want him to like credit the chef while I'm being eaten like that. Yeah.
I'll go with that answer too.
Yeah,
I like that.
And of course, that's our Ode to Humanity segment. And Leslie, I saw on your official website that you have a book called Neck Punch and Carry On.
I do.
Yeah, it's called Advice from the Queen. So how did Neck Punch and Carry On come about?
I would always tell people that they were going to get a neck punch if they were idiots. And so I started like all these inspirational quotes that you see everywhere. I would just kind of like redo them a bit. And so that's what that book is my version of those inspirational quotes, which I think are just better. That, it's just, Neck Punch and Carry On is
it's actually kind of funny.
Like it's a screw the haters book, basically.
Hey, that's what you got to do. Just just screw all of you. And
we need that more now than ever.
Oh,
right? Yeah,
100%. And me and my wife, we joke around that we're always going to chop each other in the throat.
Yeah,
like we always pretend we're just kind of like, it's sometimes she'll actually get me like to the point. And then like what she'll do is she'll like chop me or like hit me or something, and she'll be like, "You're not a good wrestler. You're not even selling that for me." And I'm just kind of like, "That's because you're hitting me. There's not like a crowd here. Like, I mean, what do you?" So then she'll hit me harder because she knows the rapport isn't wrestling. If you don't sell it, I'm gonna make you. So
you gotta sell it. Yeah. Definitely the neck. If you're going for the neck, you're going for death. So it's the neck punch. Yeah, it's the neck punch.
And I could hate to see what happens in the bedroom. Fucking twisting your nipples. Yeah, sell it, motherfucker. Sell it.
And are there any other, like, do you have any other ideas for any other kind of inspirational books like that coming up in the future?
Maybe. I mean, I write a lot of stuff, and I just wanted to do that book because I was so tired of seeing those those inspirational posters that you see in every freshman dorm. And I was like, they just don't make sense. And so I might do another version. Actually, I've been collecting more quotes. So I might do a second one.
Well, what's wrong with live, laugh, love, bro?
Live, laugh, love.
Live full, laugh, all. What you should do is you should do the same book, but in the incoherent theme.
Incoherent,
You should get really drunk and then rewrite all of that. And however
like drunk history,
then you just release the drunk man's version of, you just, here you go. This is the intoxicated, inebriated version of the book.
Kind of how I came up with that first book anyway, so.
And of course, you've traveled around a lot. What's some of the strangest things you think you've seen while you've been in the road? Like have you ever been on stage and you just kind of looked out in the crowd and you saw something, you're just kind of like, what the fuck is going on right now?
All the time. I mean, my mother is saying tits. So my mother just said tits. I mean, like, yeah, and this was in California. When I was performing at Disneyland.
Wait, did you see tits at Disneyland?
Oh yeah, it's coming. So
yes.
I wanted to be the Little Mermaid, Ariel, but I never could because I have like huge boobs, and even as a teenager, they were like, we can't fit them. And then a girl had gotten sick, and so I finally got to go on as Ariel. But they literally, I'm not even joking when I say like the costumer was crying, like we only have seashells, not D shells.
We need
like,
seashells.
I swear to God.
We need seashells.
I'm not even kidding. I'm 17 and I finally get out there and they like look like pasties of shells. And I sing, like the Ariel song where she's like, look at this stuff, isn't it?
It's my favorite song.
Like, yeah. And I was like, what's that word again? And some fucking college boys were like, tits.
That's awesome. That's all
not even kidding. Scarred for life.
Yeah.
I would do that. Look at these tits.
Right? I know. Yes, that is exactly what happened. And so, like,
there's that one song where she's like, that's what they were like. They were like,
yeah. No, I mean, the worst. But there's been weird shit. I mean, I went to Shanghai, China, and there was some weird, like my dressing room in Shanghai, China said, it said they had like weird English translations, and I found my dressing room and it said container for large actress was my
what does that even like does that mean like what does that mean?
I don't know, that's just what it said. It had like the Chinese like letters and then container for large actress, and I was like, bitch, are you saying that because so like shit like that was all that.
But of course, when you look at it, you're probably the tallest person there anyways, so yeah.
It was bizarre. Yeah, container for large actress was one of my favorites.
Like, that's right, bitch.
Yeah, and of course, like, the people in China, did you like walk through like the town?
Oh yeah.
The next time you're in a town, just look like you're really angry and just march through, and they'll split around you. The wrestler Chris Jericho, he did that before, and they recorded him doing it, and he just walked like he was walking angry, and they literally just walked around him like that, and then just kept going. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I should have done that. I mean, my husband is blonde, and so already they were like kind of like staring at him, but they couldn't care. Shanghai, it's crazy. There's so many people.
Oh yeah.
And just like, I mean, it's insane.
When did you did live shows up in up
there? I did a version of Zorro in Shanghai. I opened like their version of Zorro in Shanghai.
Well, it's crazy because pro wrestling is a lot different. Like pro wrestling in America is the crowd's raucous the whole time. Like you hear the crowd the whole time. But in China, like
nothing
like that, China, Japan, after the wrestlers do something, that you just hear silence, and then you just hear all of them just clap all at one time. It's insane, and it's like crazy. It's such a difference.
Yeah, because you're like, and then nothing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Come on, this is it.
But it's a sign of respect that they're silent, and then and nobody tells us that.
Yeah. You just sit there and like you're like, come on, and they're just looking.
They hate me.
You just go, what does this even mean? Yeah. I'm not dressed like Ariel. What does this mean?
They're Chinese, but Godzilla.
It's so bizarre. It's just I did a show in Korea too, and it was the same way. They're like, no, it's a sign of respect that they don't applaud. I was like,
what was his name? What's the dictator's name in South Korea? What's
Kim Jong?
Yeah, was Kim Jong Un there? Mm-hmm. Did he show up?
No.
Because he did you shoot an Ariel, because he definitely yeah.
Keats, yes. Yeah. I love it.
She's the new Dennis Rodman.
Fucking love America.
Until tomorrow when they hate us again.
I know, yeah.
Well, we just keep her down there to keep the peace.
Yeah. Keep the peace.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? They're like, Dennis Rodman, like he's the guy who's talking to Kim Jong-un, like, hey, dude, yeah, Dennis Rodman.
Well, I mean,
is keeping us all from being murdered from Kim Jong-un.
But then you see, I'm sure you saw the documentary, like the Bulls documentary. What is it called? I forgot what it's called. But then you like forget what an amazing player he was because of all this other crap.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh. And then watching that documentary, I was like, oh,
they even touched on the stuff with the pro wrestling stuff that he was doing or whatever.
Yes,
Stuff that did with that. And I remember that because that, that was in my heyday when I was young, the NWO, and he was a part of that. Yeah. You're just kind of like, holy shit, like, this guy. And like, he always had the crazy hair. Yeah. And really, Dennis Rodman, for his credit, is that when he was around, he was so different. You could see players.
So good. Yeah.
But during his time, him coming out with the look that he had, people were just kind of like, what the hell is this? But that's the new normal.
Now nobody would care. Right.
Different. Yeah. And Leslie, what do you have coming up? What's next coming up for you in the future?
The big one coming up is I'm in the Sopranos movie.
Really?
So yeah, the Sopranos has a prequel.
Okay.
Now, and I'm in that. That's the big
supposed
one.
To be Tony, like a young.
It's
Tony?
young Tony.
Okay.
And it's actually.
It's his son. It's his son. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard about
he
that.
looks just like him. And
really?
He's so good in it. Yeah. So it's all the characters that were in The Sopranos, but just younger. So that's the big one coming out. I've got an episode of Younger coming out. And then, I'm doing an animated show for Fox called Housebroken that starts airing in May, which is great. And I don't know what Broadway's kind of going to come back in the fall, but we don't really know. We'll see. And we hope The Crew comes back for Netflix, which would be great. But yeah.
Now, what do you have anything Broadway wise coming up? Like, is there any shows that 100% you're going to do that?
All my shows for Broadway are maybes. I'm working on a lot of stuff, but no, I don't have a definite for Broadway. I don't really think any of us do. So we'll really kind of have to wait and see what happens in the fall. The big shows are opening, like Hamilton and Wicked, and I'm gonna kind of see how that goes. If people have to like wear masks or like even what that's gonna be, tourists, like if they're gonna go back to the theater. So we're kind of all waiting to see what that is. But
yeah, and of course, when you do theater, and it's hard because you don't know people's reactions. Like you just see their eyes. It's like this, so you don't know if anybody's laughing.
It's gonna be weird. Yeah, and if people will buy tickets or I'm hoping that shows like touring shows that come through Baltimore, I'm hoping that, those will go back, and we don't know if people will just go see those and then not go to Broadway or not travel. And it's all kind of a what if now. So yeah, we'll see. But the TV film stuff, we've figured out a little bit of how to do it. So
yeah.
Right. Now I have a question, Leslie. Now, it says on your Twitter page that you're a Muppet fan. You like the Muppets, like the Muppets and the Star Wars. Now, out of curiosity, this is kind of a two-part question. Who is your favorite Muppet? And if you were a Muppet, what would you be? Because they always give like
she's taking a big drink. She's getting ready. Like she already.
It's the same up. It's the same answer for both.
You know how they give inspirational like things most Muppets do. What would your inspirational quote be or message to?
It's exactly the same.
Can we take a guess on what Muppet it will be?
Go ahead.
Is what?
Can we take a guess on what Muppet we think? I would say that if your favorite, or if you could be one, I would say Fozzie. What about you, Matt?
Close.
Close? Okay.
Fozzie's my second favorite Muppet.
Okay.
My favorite since I was a kid was Miss Piggy.
Okay. Same as Piggy. Yeah. Damn it.
And my favorite quote is "Hiya." She just
Yeah.
fucking neck punches everybody. She karate chops them.
Now
But
it
Fozzie is my
everything.
second favorite Muppet. I love Fozzie.
Now it explains everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it yeah, I mean, since I was a kid, it was the same as Star Wars. It was always Star Wars and the Muppets, which kind of makes sense. I mean, and now they're all in the same Disney family, but yeah, massive,
Right,
massive.
they acquired the Muppets too. So cryogenically frozen, Walt
Got a lot, yeah.
he's like, and now I have puppets. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
Walt. This is
I mean, and I'm also a Marvel fan, so great. So that'll be good. And yeah, it's all in one.
That's right. Can we make puppets fight each other with lightsabers?
No, there might be
we can.
There might be a lot
Absolutely.
of stuffing, Walt. There might be a lot of stuffing. And Leslie, where can everybody listening at home, or if they're watching live on Facebook, where can everybody find you?
Oh my gosh, on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, everywhere. I'm Queen Leslie, but no E on Leslie. It's Queen Lesli. Thanks, Mom.
How did you get the nickname Queen? I was going to ask that actually.
You know what? So it's a whole thing. I call myself Queen not because I think I'm queen or better. It's all about like I am rad and I rule my little kingdom of me, and nobody can tell me what I can do or what I can call myself. So I called myself Queen, and everyone can call themselves whatever the fuck they want. That's what it's about. So I decided I was
Is
Queen.
that in your book?
Yeah. Well, I mean that's the thing. Her book, the book says that the Queen. It says it right.
I'm a
Everything
queen,
is
bitch.
yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just about like you own your little kingdom, your world or whatever. So if you want to be like, I'm the supreme leader, call yourself supreme leader, because somebody else will give you a title that you're not gonna like. So you might as well give yourself one. It's just, so that's where it came from. And it has like nothing to do with being like, I'm so much better. It just is like, no, I'm calling myself Queen because that's what I am. So
You gotta rule your own world. Like,
And of course,
yeah.
I feel that 100%. Nobody can tell my drunk ass shit.
As you're drinking from your horn.
That's
Yeah.
right.
his bong. He's drinking from the bong.
Oh,
He's-
drinking
Bong. The bong.
You don't drink.
I
I've
really-
learned that in my college days. You don't
Yeah.
drink the bong water.
Yeah.
I really did want it to be a real horn though, like a real, like you've cut it off.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
if he
it
cuts the bottom off, it's a beer bong
it
at that
might
point.
be
If
a
he
one.
cuts the bottom off, it will be a bong, a
It could
beer
be.
bong.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, she just said that
Technically,
for you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Gave us
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah. And
Next
anyways,
show, I'm chugging fucking beer out of my fucking horn bong.
we're starting to get ready to wrap up. And of course, next week, everybody, we will be back live here on Facebook. We have a very special episode, as we know our good friend, fellow pro wrestler Socrates. He
Oh,
has
Jesus Christ.
immense heat with WWE superstar Al Snow. A lot of assumptions. Al Snow, like when it talked to him at the bar, he's accusing Al Snow of stealing his finishing move. So I have waited months and I've tried for months. Finally, I have reached out to Al Snow, and Al Snow will be on the show so he can face his accuser next week, right here on the Happy Hour podcast, and it's going to be glorious. So make sure you tune in next week to the Happy Hour podcast. Also, make sure for anything the Happy Hour podcast oriented, www.thehhpod.com. All of our merchandise is there. We have our Patreon, only $3 a month. Make sure you check that out. And Leslie, we're going to go ahead and let you go. For everybody watching at home, thank you for tuning in. Leslie, thank you for being our guest.
I had the best time. You guys are amazing, and I'll please have me back anytime.
Of
I
course,
appreciate it.
absolutely.